On this week's episode of The Video Store, Frank buys a unicorn store. Josh went down in the basement, and we got trapped in the green room.
Bring back Jar Jar Binks!
Fuck!
Welcome to the Video Store Podcast, where every week we review movies and TV shows that we've watched. We also look ahead at what's streaming, on demand, out for rental, and in theaters this week. My name is Frank.
This is Josh.
Thanks for pointing out every mispronunciation I make.
Oh, that wasn't a pronunciation. I was just helping out on this week. Oh, I'm so excited.
Oh, yeah, I was fumbling. Let's start the podcast off with thoughts and trailers.
And insecurities.
There was a big announcement. There's a Star Wars coming out. No, I'm trying to avoid watching trailers for things that I know I'm going to watch anyway. So I'm going to try to avoid any Star Wars teasers or trailers for as long as I can.
Well, you know what? I watched it anyways, Frank, because I don't care.
You do you. I'll do me.
I'm doing me. I'm doing my best me.
What'd you think of the trailer?
I think her flipping through the air and what's leading up to a cutscene where you think she's probably splitting this fucking TIE fighter in half with a lightsaber is pretty tight.
When you say her, you mean Rey?
Yeah.
Cool.
So it does pick up in that universe. Lando Calrissian shows up. It's great. I don't know. I think it'll be great. It's going to be great.
We never discussed. Are you a fan of the past two Star Wars movies? Because I like them both a lot, actually.
Yeah, maybe a little bit less on the prologue, whatever that was, just the last one they released that wasn't Kylo Ren.
Oh, you're talking about Rogue One?
Yes, it was okay.
Yeah, I thought that one was cool. It's interesting. A lot of people that don't like Episode 7 and 8 really like that one, but I've enjoyed them all so far. Solo, not as much.
I didn't watch Solo, so I don't know anything about it.
But I really like these. I think they have an energy, a level of acting, I think that's superior to some of the previous movies, if not most of them. And an energy and like charisma that was never there in previous Star Wars movies.
Yeah, I think they're doing pretty good with what they're doing over at Disney. So, surprisingly, who would have thought? As long as Jar Jar Binks doesn't show up, I'm pretty happy. Mm-hmm. Misa no like that fucker.
Besides that, there are other things coming out, believe it or not. Mm-hmm. There's a movie called Anna.
Mm-hmm. Spelled backwards. You know what it is, Frank? You know? Do you know what it is?
You went this long without making a bad joke. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
This plot summary is another sales pitch for the movie, but I'll read it anyway. Beneath Anna Polatov's striking beauty lies a secret that will unleash her indelible strength and skill to become the world's most feared government assassin. We've seen stuff like this recently. Atomic Blonde, which was ultra violent and vibrant and a lot of fun, over the top. And Jennifer Lawrence was in Red. Why can't I remember? I saw that in millions. Red Sparrow?
I saw that Peppermint shit.
Yeah, there's Peppermint. So
there's 9 million of them.
A cool trend. This is with a lesser known actor, and it looks okay. I could watch this if I hear some good things, but I'm not super excited for it.
But do you know who made it, Frank? Luc Besson.
Okay. I mean, that doesn't change my mind because I've been hit or miss with him recently.
Really?
I really liked Valerian. I liked Valerian, I'll say. I liked Valerian despite most people not liking it. Lucy I was not a big fan of, and I didn't see... He did Ghost in the Shell, right?
That I don't know. Maybe.
Okay. Well, I haven't seen that one yet.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm pretty lukewarm. Same boat. It's probably a time filler. Could be good. Could be somewhat satisfying. As far as action choreography, you never know. Some movies that lack strength in other areas can really come through on the visual side of things. So never know.
Yeah. And finally, Stuber.
Stuber
is about a detective played by Dave Bautista, recruits his Uber driver, played by, I am brain dead today, Camille Nanjiani, and he recruits him to kind of just help him out as he's pursuing, it's one crazy day type movies as he pursues his police duties. This looks really good. I'm a fan of buddy cop stuff, and I'm really curious to see how the chemistry between Camille and Bautista are going to work out.
Yeah, it looks pretty funny. I have no problems with this happening. Although a little dramatized for the day in the life of an Uber driver, but then again, maybe not that far off. I used to drive for him and probably had things almost pretty close to this exact situation happen.
Oh wow, that's another podcast we could do. But I think it's interesting because these are two actors that we've seen in a lot of things. I've liked them in pretty much everything they're in, but they quite haven't been given this much space, to like
do their own thing.
Yeah, some strengths that I think we believe they have, but they might fully realize in this movie. So really,
like Batista's comedic strength for sure is something that I think we only touch on in things like Guardians of the Galaxy, where he could be fucking hilarious.
Yeah, wrestlers never get enough credit for sure.
Yeah. Depending on, except for Ric Flair, I think he's gotten enough credit. Mm-hmm. Woo!
He's become a caricature of himself. So those are things that are coming out in the future, and we will probably discuss them when they are available. Let's talk about things we've actually seen. It's what we watched.
WWW.
Yeah, briefly, we have a review system that will throw the movies in one of three bins. Either don't do it, take it or leave it, or an employee pick, and we'll explain that if it's necessary, what we mean by each one of those.
These bins are made out of recyclable materials, people, so don't be worried.
100%. I finally checked out Boy, which is on Hoopla and Canopy. This is a Taika Waititi film that is set on the east coast of New Zealand in the 1984. Boy is an 11-year-old child. He's a devout Michael Jackson fan. There's also a bunch of E.T. references in this. He gets a chance to know his absentee criminal father, played by Waititi, who has returned to find a bag of money that he buried in his backyard years ago. Huh. This was an excellent movie. I will just go out and say that in front of this. I really enjoyed it. It's a great coming-of-age movie. It's a good example of just like unchecked, unsupervised masculinity and all the pitfalls that can lead to, but including the boy who doesn't have any kind of like male role model, and I think it's his aunt who watches him. She's never really there either, and he's in charge of his younger siblings and some nieces and nephews, and just you see his insecurities play out, and like he's naive to the world and what he pursues, like what he wants to accomplish, and he has a girl that he likes. And
he's a girl that he likes.
Yeah, and he wants this reputation of being tough, and then he sees his dad, who's like in this like wannabe gang, and his dad's not that more mature than him, and has some of the same weaknesses, and the kid kind of sees his path in his father and struggles with that, and it really resolves itself very well, and I thought. It's definitely a sign of a great filmmaker. Like, this is super low budget. There's not a lot of production value here, and it just tells a simple story. But the way it, brings the characters to life and sets them up, and the world building, everything was excellent. Like, everything about the movie I thought was like masterclass level of filmmaking, and it's something I'll highly recommend, regardless of if it's your type of movie. I think you'd enjoy it.
Well, Shimon.
So it's an employee pick.
Shimon, Frank.
You did a lot of Netflixing.
I did, because I did. I don't have to explain myself to you, just to the people of the world. So, I watched The Basement. Just popped up, said it was new. I was like, I like basements, let's do it. Boom, I'm in. It's about a seemingly innocent man, which I don't like that they already say something like seemingly innocent in the plot summary.
Yeah, like
I feel like that's
in the movie. Like, show us
right?
that. Yeah.
It's how about an innocent man is abducted by a notorious LA serial killer who forces his victims to switch roles with him so that he can enact his own capture, torture, and murder, which they do explain that immediately, where there's an immediate scene with some random victim and the situation at play. So, but the storyline doesn't give you much to work with as far as why things are happening, but it's not terrible in the moment, and the character played by Jackson Davis, his name's Bill Anderson, he basically takes his life and projects it onto his victims, right? And he shows up at every milestone or event as he goes upstairs and comes back downstairs in these different characters. It's like a runoff of Split, but this guy's completely conscious of what he's doing. It's not a multiple personality situation. It's more of a method actor so involved in his own roles.
Are you like more inside his head over his shoulder than like Split?
You're definitely not in his head. It's more from the eyes of the victim who's been tied up in the basement.
Gotcha.
So basically, the first guy he gets introduced to is this clown, and the clown, does his little weird shit clown thing. I'm Bailey the clown, blah blah blah, all of his weird shit. Goes upstairs, comes back downstairs as a police officer, like full police outfit, but he can tell that it's him because there's still some white makeup on his face. Then he goes back, and he has all of these individual scenes as he's capturing himself, in a sense, who is Bailey the clown, the serial killer, then being interviewed by a detective, then his lawyer shows up as the same exact guy, and it goes through each milestone of like catching himself and convicting himself and being put to the death penalty. Like every single character's developed that way. So for that, I give it that it is interesting in that format. Jackson Davis, I think, is in Shameless. I don't know if you're familiar.
Name doesn't ring a bell. I could look it up, but it's not worth it.
Yeah, fair enough. But all in all, it was a good filler spot for me. I think I liked it a little bit more than I thought I would. A little bit of gruesomeness and, a simple twist in the end, but nothing, mind blown off. Fuck, my world just exploded. So I'm going to put this as a take it or leave it. If you're looking for something new on Netflix and looking for something a little suspenseful to some aspects, this would be right up the alley.
Cool. Quickly, I'll talk about Destroyer, which is on Hulu. That's the Nicole Kidman transformation where she plays a police detective.
And a crackhead.
And, okay, yeah. And
no.
Fair enough. She plays a police detective reconnecting with people from an undercover assignment in her distant past in order to make peace and, solve a current case. I trusted you. I think you did a good job a couple episodes ago explaining, issues you had with it. It just all felt very familiar to me. There was, you've seen these scenes in other movies before, and there wasn't really anything unique or exciting about them. There wasn't much personality in the direction of the movie. The writing wasn't even that clever. There were some moments of sincere tension and suspense that I thought were pretty cool.
For sure.
The Russian roulette scene comes to mind. That was pretty intense. But just a wasted performance of Nicole Kidman overall. Just pretty generic, and just, the strength of it was kind of what was advertised. She transforms into this character that almost seems like something ripped out of Sin City or something. She's she looks
harsh, dude.
Yeah, life hit her pretty hard, but she almost doesn't look human.
Life hit her multiple times with a bus.
Yeah. So this is a take it or leave it. If you're seeing this trailer and you're a Nicole Kidman fan like I am, you might just be like me and have to find out for yourself. But it's really not that good. You're better off just watching either a similar type of movie or get your Nicole Kidman fix with something else. Go watch Stoker again.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, look, I did not fail you somewhat, which is good. I need your approval all the time. So I continued the Netflixing watching and not leaving from my bed here, and watched Silence, which of course we all know. Tucci Gang, this version of a Bird Box, Quiet Place type situation, was exactly what that was. It was a lukewarm version of both those movies combined.
Even worse than Bird Box.
Yeah, I feel like yes would be the answer. Wow. Because at least in Bird Box, the way the characters went insane and I think at least the evilness was there. You could feel some underlying evil. In this, it's minimal. It's tough. Tucci Gang couldn't save this fucking movie. I understand the relation to The Quiet Place, as for a lot of the time of course, this family all knows sign language, which I do. That's the only reason I think about rewatching them. I feel like I could learn sign language from this movie.
Really? I mean, there's probably easier ways to do it, more efficient ways to do
it. Probably more efficient, but not as much with Stanley Tucci teaching you. I mean, come on. But anyways, this is definitely a don't do it for me. I'm not even going to go through the plot summary. If you don't know what this is about, it's another one of those post-apocalyptic or right on the apocalypse edge of some terrible event happening and people living through that format. And it's just run down. It's generic. and it's weak sauce. It's just weak sauce.
Cool. Thanks for warning us. And it was something I was considering watching that I'm not going to now, because we only need one review on this podcast to tell you to avoid something.
Fair enough.
So I'm a sucker still for Brie Larson, of course, and like the Dreamer, the like shameless Dreamer movies, and that's what Unicorn Store is. That's on Netflix right now. It's about a woman named Kit, played by Brie Larson, in I think it's her second movie she's ever directed, definitely her biggest film she's directed so far. Well, Kit receives a mysterious invitation by this character played by Samuel L. Jackson that would fulfill her childhood dreams by giving her a pet unicorn. And she's like a late 20s adult, definitely seems to be, pretty normal. Just she like is attached to her imagination. She just has a unique perspective on life and just has that like childlike joy and wonderment that you don't see. This is like everything Walter Mitty wanted to be in a movie, but was like ashamed to be. Like it really worked for me, and I wasn't expecting it to. I kind of just wanted to, watch it to review it for the podcast, and I couldn't really think of anything else to watch. And along with a couple of positive reviews. So started off, as far as the review roller coaster went, it wasn't good, but I've heard some good stuff. And I'm on team Unicorn Store. If you're in a cynical mood, you could probably tear this movie apart. But Brie Larson's so charming, and it's just a really good watch. It's a feel-good movie and something pretty unique.
Okay, well, it was something I just haven't been in the mood for at the moment, but it is on my list, so that encourages me to go and probably eventually watch. Just got to be in the right mood sometimes for certain things. I have to be in that mood for hope and childlike wonderment and not belittlement and destruction.
Yeah, for sure. I was like hungover / had food poisoning, and I just needed something easy to watch, and it was perfect. So if you get in a similar state, maybe that's when you should watch it.
Okay, food poisoning, best medication, Unicorn Store.
Yeah, you just, the night before, go to a buffet.
Take 2 to 3 unicorns and call me in the morning. So, just to keep an update on The Twilight Zone. Another episode had come out. It is called Replay. It's slightly improved, but still that tamed down, little bit washed out version. It touches on familiar subjects of police brutality and phones and recording, and how you feel maybe more exposed when you're being recorded. And the storyline is kind of a mom and a son are on a road trip to take him to college, and she has some camcorder that she's had for forever, and she determines that after she gets pulled over by this cop who's aggressive and definitely has some type of racial undertones to how he's speaking with them, that things start to go bad, and she hits rewind on her camcorder and it rewinds time.
Okay.
So her use and selfishness of using it to try and get out of all of these situations and events, and they're so linked and tied to this officer, and she tries all of these different formats. So that, I do like a good time situation there, and it was done well by the characters they had in place. No one super off the top of my head that I, not like Stephen Yeun or Adam Scott or any of those guys, but it was definitely a little bit better, a little more improved, and I'll still keep watching them just to find out, because Jordan Peele.
Cool. Yeah, it just sounds like it just feels too much like a CBS show. Feels too.
It does. It would have been so much better on almost any other network, I would think, but we never know until it's there. I have
a theory, and it's just what I noticed. So I don't know if you share this, but it could be a random scene on a random show, and I can usually tell if it's either like CBS or Fox or NBC based on like the lighting or the production or something. It just has a look to it.
I definitely know that with like CW.
CW, yeah.
And I don't even fucking watch CW, but I know if a show came on, I could tell if it was on that. And I feel there's probably a couple others like CBS or you almost HBO, because of the high production value. You can tell sometimes,
for sure.
Even
yeah,
just in a sense, just because they always hold some ominous tones and things like that. So I would agree that they stay around certain structures that work for them. But I think the ability to push the envelope and go outside the box, things like what Netflix does, really allow for a better success rate with an experiment. Did you see there's another Bear Grylls like interactive type thing where you can decide what decisions he makes to pretty much kill him on a mountain or not?
Oh wow! Oh, so it's okay. I thought it was like a vote like show.
It is a vote thing.
So
it's a thing where you can make it. So he basically did every single one of those events that they filmed.
Oh, it's pre-recorded though. Okay.
Well, of course. Yeah, no, this isn't a live. This is like Bandersnatch, where you make the decisions, and based on that is how the adventure goes.
I think it'd be cool if you did it like where you just voted.
This is live, and he's like, I don't know if I want to fucking go down in this hole with a shark, guys. No, go, do it.
Maybe not live, but it's delayed. Like you get hours or a day to vote, like where he should go, and then you see what he does the next day. That could work.
Yeah, if it was toned down, but not like specific decisions, like hold your breath longer, you'll be fine. Like,
yeah, no, like when there's a fork in the road,
kill Bear Grylls.
Where would you go? Like just like deciding the fork in the road, not like should I eat this porcupine? Decisions. Not shit like that.
You never know, man. People like to take things pretty far. I feel like we've probably seen a few movies similar with things like that.
Mm-hmm. So
people voting and.
Classic film that I haven't seen yet, alert. I finally saw the 1978 version of The Invasion of the Body Snatchers. It's on Amazon Prime. Yeah, Donald Sutherland, Jeff Goldblum, great cast. We could talk about that. So you're obviously familiar with that. Also, Brooke Adams did a great job. I really thought she was a different actress. She's very reminiscent of like the Girl Next Door type vibe that a lot of 80s actresses, like that brunette character. She was great in this, and Leonard Nimoy as like the arrogant psychologist.
Oh yeah.
Too. So besides having a great cast, I think this movie just like sets the mold for how a post-apocalyptic and paranoia like
who is it
movie.
Or is it not?
Yeah, I'll do plot summary real quick if you people listening aren't familiar with this movie. When seeds drift from Earth to space, or to Earth from space, mysterious pods begin to grow and invade a small town, replicating the residents one body at a time. I love this movie. It's immediately like one of my all-time favorite movies. I just love the execution of it, the use of tone, just the way they resisted like doing the takeover, like the way the plot moves along, I thought was like masterful. I was just like hanging by a thread the entire time on the edge of my seat, and just great actors, great performances, very well written, and just like holds up. This movie is 40 years old, and it is better than most horror movies you will see now, like for sure. So.
Did you see the one that came out in the 90s with Donald Sutherland? Very similar, like the exact same kind of format.
I don't think I did. No, I saw
it in
The
theaters.
Faculty, which is definitely the Robert Rodriguez film, which is definitely an homage to this.
Which I loved, which was great.
I thought that was a good one too. But yeah, I think this is, I can't imagine those being better than this.
Okay, I'm not saying better, but definitely right. Oh, the Puppet Masters. That's what it was.
Okay.
If you haven't seen The Puppet Masters, go watch that.
Yeah, Invasion of Body Snatchers, and it's a remake itself, because there was like a 1950s version, I believe. But it's something that has been redone and reimagined and stolen multiple times. It's
I think you'll like this, somewhat updated, but obviously still in the 90s. It's 94.
Yeah, and the transfer on Amazon Prime was really good looking. It's definitely like an HD like remastering of the film. But despite that, I mean, I get frustrated sometimes. You try to recommend people a movie, and if it's not in the last 3 years, they're not going to watch it. Like
it's going to happen.
This is a good example of just this.
People are going to be like, sure, Frank, I'll do it.
I don't know your memory of this, dude, but the way this story is told is just so good. Like, to me, that is what lives on, is like how you tell the story and the performances. Like, you can forgive some of the special effects, but I thought even those were executed really well. They did a good job of kind of holding off, revealing how these things operate and what they look like, and that made like every like big effect scene more effective. So yeah, employee pick, 5 out of 5, must see stuff.
Donald Sutherland.
Yeah, Donald Sutherland.
Yeah,
fucking, he's a G.
So I watched the show and knocked out these 8 episodes or so. Again, new random show popped up on Netflix. Never heard of it. Just the way it was shot looked cool enough for me from the Netflix trailer. I was like, I'm fucking in. Let's check this shit out. It's called Black Summer. Oh, yeah. It's about a mother that searches for her daughter after civilization collapses due to a zombie outbreak. And I'll say that's more of one storyline in a multitude of storylines. The whole entire series is shot in a chapter-esque situation from cut to cut, with in the initial episode mostly cut by the names and introductions of the character and where they started out, or the timeline and time frame, because you will see a couple of repeating scenes and how whatever they did impacted something you may have seen earlier and just been out of the time loop in a sense. Because this is basically right as it's happening, the sirens are going off, the army's getting people out of there, people are just running down the street trying to get out, and take it from there. It's right at that pivotal moment where they A, know this is happening, and B, they need to get the fuck out of there. It follows about a multitude of maybe 5 to 6, 7 characters, something of that. I couldn't keep track. And obviously many stories eventually intertwine at different points. People group up, people end up getting broken up, then maybe they see them later. There's a lot of interesting takes. I do think the chop up way they did it was a little forced at some points.
Really? Did it disconnect the story?
At points when you were wanted to continue the one you were on, but it all comes back around, and I would say it is very well shot, and the characters are extremely well done. Jamie King plays the mom in the initial storyline that trying to save her daughter. This guy Sal Velez, who I'm not familiar with, you may have seen him in a few things. What's funny is they use the same last name, like whatever Velez, but he's in Mayans and a few different things. I don't know if you watched any of the Sons of Anarchy or Mayan shit.
No, I haven't checked them out yet.
Sons of Anarchy is pretty fucked up. I will say that. It took me a long time to go and watch that show, and then I was like, oh man, whew. The only thing I can't relate to is the biker gang aspect, but everything else, it's like a dirty crime show that's pretty fucked up. So
ooh, I like me some
check that out at some point. It is some dirty crime, and Ron Perlman, man, and fucking what's her name from Married with Children?
Oh, Kate Siegel.
Yes, Katie Seagal.
But yeah, back to this. Sounds like you're in take it or leave it territory.
Actually, I would say watch it. I'm going with an employee pick, half-hearted, but still there. It's not something that I think you'll see all the time, and I think it was done very well. The zombies were done very well. The character suspense is very good, and worth the time in the 8 episodes. I think it's something you should check out, but I know you're not very episodic, so.
Yeah, do you feel like there's going to be another season, or is this a one and done?
I would think so, but then again, there's so many shows that you think are coming with seasons that don't end up happening sometimes, but we'll see. I'm not I don't know. I literally know nothing about the show besides the fact I watched it. I didn't look almost anything else into it besides the plot summary after the fact, which doesn't really do it any justice.
Hey man, it's okay. It's all you need to know. We're that kind of podcast. Like, we just tell you what's good to watch. We don't really dissect things or get into the story.
Why? But why?
I checked out The Oath. It's a comedy written, directed, starring Ike Barinholtz, Tiffany Haddish also in it.
Oh yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah. It's on Hulu. I accidentally spent money on it before that because it's one of the 99-cent rentals on iTunes. Which they do that on like any kind of rental service. I think has the dollar deal, so something to look forward to.
Bless you,
man. I don't know what's going on, but I'm starting to sneeze.
And you're ruining everything.
I was all set to root for this movie. It's about a politically divided America, kind of exaggeration on what's going on now, post-Trump. And a man struggles to make it through Thanksgiving holiday without destroying his family because a year prior they announced that there's not a mandatory requirement. There's an oath where you sign a piece of paper expressing your devout and like unconditional support and loyalty to the country and the president. And there's protest, and it seems like they're kidnapping people. Like there's a scene where they got Seth Rogen. They kidnapped Seth Rogen.
No, they kidnapped Seth Rogen. I'm a national treasure.
Yeah, it seems like the U.S. government is taking a turn for an authoritarian bend, And it's very interesting concept.
What is this, the wheat purge?
Yeah, it's like very Black Mirror, stuff like that, like Purge-ish. But it kind of like falls in between being political satire and just being a comedy. It doesn't really know what it wanted to be as far like tone wise. And I think Ike Barinholtz like definitely feels a certain way and has some passion for this subject. I just don't think he was ready as like a filmmaker to make this movie. It just kind of felt kind of rough around the edges. Definitely had the feeling that he had a lot of talented friends and they put this thing together, but there wasn't enough like expertise or like specific talent for this movie.
There's not enough sauce, Frank.
Not enough sauce. Yeah,
not enough sauce.
And I'm gonna have to say, like, don't do it. It's not worth it. If you want some Ike Barinholtz, watch him again or for the first time in Blockers, which is an excellent comedy. Like, surprisingly sex positive and mature, but also raunchy and hilarious at the same time. You can skip this one. I can't really recommend it for any reason. And it's disappointing because I like everyone involved and I like the idea of what they were trying to do. But
you wanted to like it, Frank, but you just can't.
They just didn't have
you have morals.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you want to review?
Yeah. So I watched, again, this is more of I rewatched because I feel like I didn't give them the necessary attention the first time I did. But Green Room and I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore. Bum, 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 bum. I don't know, that title's so fucking long. Mm-hmm. But these movies I found kind of connected in a way, and which is why I wanted to kind of do a dual review. Macon Blair, who that was his directorial debut, I believe. I don't feel at home.
Yeah, I don't feel good at home. Feel at home in this world anymore. Yeah,
it's too long. Let's just say I don't feel at home, or let's just say home. Let's just say I.
IDF.
Anyways.
AHIT.
Nope, you've ruined it.
It's even worse if you're.
Yeah, IDAA Snoop double G. So, anyways, he is in movies done by the gentleman that did Green Room, Blue Ruin, etc. You're familiar. Mm-hmm. And I think he has really good performances in those, and that's why I was kind of excited to check this one out again. And I remember there was only scenes of this slightly in my memory, but it wasn't locked in there enough that it impacted me, which is sad because I feel that I don't feel at home in this world anymore. It was a very well done kind of Robert Douglas and the burger, when he goes crazy. Mm-hmm. And starts fucking shit up because he just can't take the amount of douchebags. Or if you saw the Bobcat Goldthwait, God Bless America, these characters that are just kind of had enough of people treating them like shit for no reason, and they're just too polite to really do anything about it. And these characters decide they've had enough. They're going to stand and push the boundaries of what they're willing to do, even though it's way out of what they ever perceived possible in simple situations where she's attempting to retrieve stolen stuff out of her house and ends up putting herself in these crazy situations with her cohort and tag team partner, Elijah Wood, who plays this ridiculously kind of off-put, awkward
hell of a rat tail. Rat tail. All-time rat tail.
Just a great, interesting, quirky character that I think plays very well in this movie to lighten it up, and also he does a really good job of just saying like, hey, this is believable that this guy decided he was going to throw fucking ninja stars and make it seem dangerous as fuck to these people. And then side back on Green Room, Patrick Stewart was quite great. And also I kind of miss Anton Yelchin, and it was really sad that he was someone that we lost way, 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 way before he even struck his prime. And I just think it was a great performance by him. The visual effects are right in there and gritty and dirty and mean and suspenseful. And they're both just really, really good movies, both currently on Netflix right now, and both employee picks of mine.
And
I'm done.
Jeremy Saulnier I'm going to comment on these because I like these movies. I love these movies. So I'll quickly comment on them as well. Jeremy Saulnier is the guy who wrote and directed Green Room. He also did Blue Ruin. Murder Party was like his big.
And I did see that a long time ago.
Like breakout film. And then he did Hold the Dark, which we both really liked. That was on Netflix last year. So very talented. Him and Macon Blair have crossed paths, and they are responsible for like some of my favorite stuff that's been out in the past couple years for sure. Green Room, I just thought was like one of the best suspenseful movies. I thought the violence felt real, similar to Blue Ruin. Like, it was not gratuitous; it was graphic. Like, you felt the pain, and it was very descriptive. But in most cases, these people were put in a situation where it's one or the other, and there's a huge sense of dread. And every time someone like lost a limb or took a bullet, like, you feel it in this movie. And it was an excellent performance by Anton Yelchin. And also, I think it was responsible for me discovering, who was it, Imogen Poots, the girl?
Yeah, Imogen Poots.
Imogen Poots. Yeah, I love her, man. She's great. She just there's something about her that, like, you just can't take your eye off her when she's on screen. She was fantastic. And then, I don't feel at home in this world anymore. I thought it was a really cool effort and just like a unique energy to it. I'm a big fan of those movies where it's like a commentary on society through the lens of like this person that reaches a breaking point because they were just too polite and just took shit forever. And I think you can relate to those characters in some way. Most of us
we all take shit.
Yeah, we all take shit as much as we like to think like, we're in control of our lives and we, say what we feel. Even the best of us like takes shit somewhere or just
everybody takes shit. If you don't take shit, you're full of shit.
Yeah, or you're in jail or something, or you're a sociopath, most likely.
Yeah, you may have eaten people.
Yeah, but these are both on Netflix, as is Blue Ruin, and if you're just bored with your average movie, hopefully you've expanded your horizons if you listen to a movie podcast and you got as far as listening to our podcast. But yeah, it's really good stuff. And I'm really excited in whatever Macon Blair and Jeremy Saulnier makes. And Elijah Wood's just fucking cool, dude. Like, he's great. If you look at his career and what he picks and the roles he chooses, he's really underrated. I just think because he's a little guy, honestly.
That means nothing. Look, I don't think it's that. I feel like he does get a fair amount of credit. I think a lot of people do. I don't know. It could be just personal perception, but I think he's been well established for years and has always been very capable. And I think it's really on his own personal role choices that he sometimes seems like he may be underrated, but maybe that's what he wanted to do at that time. Which, if you haven't seen Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency, fuck you and go watch it. Find it somewhere. It's so great, and you will fucking love it. And it stars Elijah Wood.
Yeah, it could be that he just picks roles that aren't going to...
Like Wilfred and shit?
Well, yeah, Wilfred and shit. But, this guy just doesn't get enough credit. I feel like he's underrated now. Like, the guy who was, like, the main character in Lord of the Rings. Right. Yeah, is, like, I think one of the most underrated actors right now.
I wonder if he just doesn't want to take on more big epic projects or lump him into some type of contractual obligations to some studio or something like that, where he just kind of wants to go more on the whim and whatever comes across it seems good. Because at least that's kind of how I feel about the work that comes out from him.
Possibly, man. I mean, you got that Rings money, you can do whatever the hell you want. But,
exactly, and I think he may be doing just that. But if I can convince you to go watch Dirk Gently, god damn it, it's so good. It's like fucking Doctor Who on acid.
Okay.
It's so fucking... I mean, I'm so pissed that they canceled it after 2 seasons, but it's fucking fantastic.
Some shows, they're just so good and so weird that they're just going to get canceled.
And that may be one, and hopefully someone else picks it up, because I've seen, like, petitions online for it and shit, because it was on BBC, so I don't know if you'll be able to find it. I would think, maybe.
You can find it. I'll bet to find it.
You should find it.
It's somewhere on the internet.
You will love it so much.
Cool. But yeah, we love everyone involved, and they're great movies. Watch them. We've mentioned them before. We'll just keep mentioning them.
We'll do it until you watch it and you'll let us know about it.
Yeah. So that wraps up the portion where we review things we watched, but we have suggestions for things that are coming up this week. It's the WTWTW. What to watch this week for our year of, what's your boy?
Bob Saget.
Our year of Bob Saget, 2019.
You know what? I saw Norm Macdonald.
Through 20. How was that? We'll get in that real quick.
It was good. I love him so much, and I know the way he does his comedic takes and styles is really he just writes some shit down on a piece of paper and like tapes it to the floor, and then he even talks about it at that point. He's like, I wrote Big Fluffy Dog, and I don't even know what that story is. He was just.
I love his dry humor and the way he like self-sabotages. He kind of like puts himself in a corner sometimes and likes to dig himself out of it.
It's so good.
Yeah, I was thinking I forgot what roast it was where he was just reading the paper. He was like on the area where they're all waiting. He's just reading newspaper.
Nice. They reference it something, the bidet or the fucking
bidet or something. Yes,
it's not a bidet, but they're like the Degas or the fucking whatever the fuck.
Yeah,
I
we're
don't
not
know.
good with these French words.
Yeah.
People know what we're talking about. But yeah, Norm Macdonald's awesome. Let's talk about the WTWTW for April 15th through the 21st, 2019.
Fine.
Netflix has a romantic comedy. It's called Someone Great. It's going to be out April 19th. It's about a devastating breakup on the eve of a young lady's cross-country move named Jenny. She enjoys one last New York City adventure with her two best pals. Someone Great is a romantic comedy about love, loss, and growth and the everlasting bond of female friendship. Damn you, plot summary. You got me to sell the movie at the very end there.
My question, are two friends Forrest and Bubba?
No, it's Rosario Dawson, Gina Rodriguez, and Brittany Snow. And you also got Lakeith Stanfield in there, so a bunch of
Well,
people
fuck me then.
that I really like. So that's why I brought it up. Like, this looks like it could be good. Most romantic comedies are garbage. They're like not real people. It's like fairy tale bullshit, like junk food stuff. But I like that genre when it's done right, and when it has people like this, I'm kind of interested.
Okay. When's that out, Frank?
April 19th.
Okay.
4/19. On Amazon Prime, Jonah Hill's directorial debut, mid-90s, a film that I really liked, is out on April 19th as well. It follows Stevie. He's a 13-year-old in 1990s era Los Angeles who spends his summer navigating between his troubled home life and a group of new friends that he meets at the Motor Avenue skate shop. Have you seen this yet? Because I feel like this is a perfect Josh movie. I feel like you would appreciate this.
Well, I haven't seen it yet, and I'm really just waiting until it pops up in my face somewhere, and then I'll be like, oh, okay.
Well, put on Amazon Prime, and it will pop up in your face.
Well, don't you tell me what to do.
Sorry, man. It's just a suggestion. But no, this is really good, very sentimental. Not as good as Lady Bird, but similar in the fact that it's like very specific time, very specific place, but very relatable as well. I think most of us, when we were young guys, we were,
I'm still young, Frank.
Yeah, you still are. But like we learned from a group of peers some of the things that we should have learned from our parents, if you can relate to that. And this kind of goes into the pros and cons of that situation, and just really great young actors in this. So I recommend it. It would be an employee pick for me. No comment.
I'll watch it. I'll fucking watch it. No, I was yawning and I was keeping it a silent yawn. Okay. I was trying not to do that like
behind the mic. It's all good. We do this remotely, so we can't give each other hand signals and eye signals. HBO Go has this show called Game of Thrones season 8 all month.
I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, so that's
what's
it
about?
A big deal.
What's it about?
Something about dragons and incest. But more importantly than that, Black Klansman is now streaming on HBO Go. Its main character is Ron Stallworth, who is an African-American police officer.
I'm Ron Stallworth.
Thank you for doing that. He's an African-American police officer from Colorado Springs, Colorado, who successfully manages to infiltrate the KKK branch with help of a Jewish surrogate played by our boy Kylo Ren, a.k.a. Adam Driver. And he eventually becomes the leader. It's based on actual events. I thought it was like really sharp satire, not the most coherent police procedural. It kind of fell apart like there were some plot holes there and how that worked out, but really good movie.
Man, the 50s and 60s. Come on.
Yeah, one of the most energetic and best jobs by Spike Lee in a long, long time. Definitely worth watching. One of the best movies of last year.
No, it was definitely a wonderful watch. Nothing bad to say about it. Really think that should have probably won the best Oscar, but
considering what was nominated, it was one of the better ones for sure. I think some stuff that wasn't nominated were better. That's a whole other thing, though.
Yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, definitely, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It furthers the racial storylines that we can relate to today, as well as another great installment from Spike Lee. So do it.
Yeah, definitely like a comeback moment for him. VOD rental, if you like to buy movies from your remote control or, just rent them for $5. You're a noble person. You can check out Glass on April 16th. This is the final chapter in the Unbreakable trilogy by M. Night Shyamalan. Still one of my favorite movies of this year.
It was okay. I didn't think it was like super fantastic, amazing, balls gone, but
I loved it, dude. I love the chances it took, and just this is what the superhero genre, just superhero movies in general. They're like a genre in themselves, and they kind of infiltrated most genres of movies that we have now. Mm-hmm. It needed this. Like, this was something different, and it was, one man's vision, not like, made in a factory like some of the Marvel stuff, which I enjoy that stuff too. Like, but this was unique in many ways, and I really appreciate how he treated his characters and like the risks he took.
Yeah, I think really just the only thing that falls apart for me is I feel like Bruce Willis has been so far gone for a while now, and even though his role is a very somber tone character, etc. I just think he's kind of lost his pizzazz, his jam.
There was one time where he was the biggest, coolest actor in the world. He'll never get that back, but I didn't mind.
No, I just see a lot of direct-to-video releases and shenanigans that he does now, and I'm like, when you take your time and you don't focus on one project, you tend to dilute the quality of your work sometimes. And again, just picky. The movie's still definitely a good jam, especially from M. Night Shyamalan, who can be totally so hit or miss with things like "This is not fucking happening," and so for him, it's okay. It's decent, and I love James McAvoy.
Yeah, he's amazing in this. Like, he should have been nominated for an Oscar? Like,
for sure.
How many people can do that performance? So I think it's worth checking out. I think you agree. I just liked it more than you did.
Indeed.
Cool. In theaters, actually, this one is in theaters.
In theaters.
On VOD.
In the movie theaters.
Yeah. Under the Silver Lake, the latest from A24, one of the studios I trust almost blindly and watch most of their stuff.
Under the Lake.
Yeah, so this one's in theaters April 19th. It's on video on demand on the 22nd. It's about Sam, who is intelligent but without a purpose, finds a mysterious woman swimming in his apartment's pool one night. The next morning, she disappears. He sets off across LA to find her, and along the way, he uncovers a conspiracy far more bizarre. This one looked interesting to me.
Far more bizarre than stalking a lady you saw one time across town like a fucking creeper.
Well, the plot summary doesn't explain what the trailer will, where like Andrew Garfield, who plays the character Sam, like he makes a connection with her, like he like falls for this girl and she just vanishes, and he doesn't have much going on for him, and he's trying to use his talents to uncover this conspiracy.
Creeper.
Yeah, I think it looks pretty interesting.
I'm just shitting on you. Yeah. I'm sure Andrew Garfield's super great in it. Man, like ever since I saw him in The Social Network, I've just been looking for that next powerful performance from him, I think.
Yeah.
Because he killed that.
Yeah, I think we'll have a review from one of us pretty soon on that one. And finally, for WTW this week, a documentary called Hail Satan? ? Is a look at
exclamation point, comma, semicolon.
Yeah. It's a look at the quick rise and influence of the controversial religious group known as the Satanic Temple.
It's nothing like the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster.
No.
They should do something on that.
There probably is a documentary. It's just probably on YouTube, not in theaters.
Yeah, that's a good point. You need a lot of money from the devil to release something for Satan.
Did you ever see the Mr. Show skit? It's like it's a televangelist show for satanic people.
No, dude, I have very minimal Mr. Show.
Just watch it. I know it's hit or miss, like most sketch shows. It can go many different directions. Go look at that after this. And you, listening, check it out on YouTube. It's great. Like, they introduce everyone. They're like, "To hell with you" is like their God bless. And they're like, "And to hell with you." And there's this character. David Cross plays this character. He's like, "What's wrong with you, Johnny? Why don't your legs work?" He's like, "I'm just lazy. I don't want to do anything." Like, bless this boys. It's so fucking good, dude. And it's like the archetypes, like the characters are people like that are just ripped up from like actual televangelist shows. Like, just they look like those people. They're just satanic. It's great. Nice. But there's also a documentary about that kind of thing, and it looks pretty interesting. And maybe you devil worshippers that listen to our show, which is the majority of our audience,
666 Hail Satan,
will appreciate the representation there. That wraps it up for this episode. Josh, anything you think you're going to see next week?
A doctor? No, I don't know. Nailed it. Oh, good bad joke.
I'm going to finally see Pet Sematary so we can do our dual review that you've been so patient and holding back.
That's all good. That's fine. My thoughts are pretty minimal. The cat sucked. How about that for thoughts?
Dang, okay, well.
Fuck that cat. No, honestly, I have almost no clue. Of course, I'm going to check out the the Game of Thrones episodes, and that's about it. I have no clue. It's going to be completely sporadic for me, complete impulse watch. No fucking clue how this week's going to go. How about you?
Same. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to watch Thrones. I don't know if we're going to talk about that because there's a million podcasts that do.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that like after our segment of the podcast. But I know I'm going to watch Thrones, and I'm going to catch up with some stuff like Pet Sematary. I'll probably
try and find Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency.
Yeah, I'll do that, and try to go to. I'll probably have at least one theater visit, if not two.
Yeah, we need some new. What's the next big hype release, man? Like
Avengers, I suppose.
I suppose.
I do declare.
I suppose you may be right.
That Thanos is a scallywag. Well, Hellboy. I don't know if either one of us are going to watch that.
I do love David Harbour, so who knows?
That's been out.
I don't know, man. We need some more fluid, badass movies that we just know are going to be amazing, and also geared towards us instead of like geared towards everyone.
It'll get there close to summer. I mean, May 3rd, The Intruder comes out, so I mean.
Oh, Dennis Quaid.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So that's probably the biggest one, more than Detective Pikachu or.
Oh, that's also. I want to see that. Fuck. When is that coming out?
That's the 10th, I believe. So it gets pretty good. I don't. It's not something we don't normally do, but we'll talk about The Intruder on the 3rd, and then the 10th you have Detective Pikachu and The Hustle with Anne Hathaway. And,
I so want to see Detective Pikachu so
and then
much.
John Wick is the week after that, and
fuck yeah.
Then you have Aladdin.
You know that guy like used to be a stuntman?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the guy that directed.
The guy that directed
Wick,
it. He was he was a stunt coordinator and a stuntman. Yeah.
Yeah, he was Keanu Reeves' stuntman for like during The Matrix, and then his favor to pay him back was doing these movies for him, and then obviously it turned out well.
Yeah, that's dope. So this is a weird way. I don't say it's a bad way, but we usually don't end the podcast rambling. But that was pretty nice.
I think we'll do it anyways, cause fuck bitches and go Capitals.
All right, go Capitals, go Trailblazers.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.